Hi, my name is Aaron, and this is my show, Reeducation. And today I want to talk about healthcare. Healthcare should be a right, not a privilege. It should be universal and free to absolutely everybody. I mean, if you are a citizen, you should be provided with free healthcare. It would be ridiculous not to have that, would it not? But the problem, now that arises, is how would you be able to have free universal healthcare under an anarcho-communist structure if you don't have centralized government? Now, just very briefly, anarcho-communist means anarcho, the abolishment of all unnecessary hierarchies, and communist, the worker control and ownership of the means of production. Now, if you don't have a centralized government, how do you have healthcare? It would seem that there would be nobody there to give it to you, nobody there to pay for it, no system, no structure in place to be able to implement that system. Well, I would say that you would be totally wrong about that. Under an anarcho-communist society, the incentives are towards increasing health and well-being and reducing pain and suffering, instead of just earning a bunch of capital. But why would I say that, though? How can I just say that it's for giving more health and well-being and giving less pain and suffering? That doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, actually it does, because if the workers are themselves their own bosses, and not some CEO that lives 1,000 miles away dictating to them what they can produce, when they can produce, how they can produce, and what they do with the profits, then inevitably the people in that system, in that society, in that community decide to do the right thing with those profits because the right thing would benefit their society. It's inherently selfish, but it's selfish for all the right reasons. The people in that community would take the extra surplus labor value that would usually be given to the CEO that's 1,000 miles away. You know, if in the case of Jeff Bezos, that's like $70 billion, they would take that $70 billion and instead of giving it to one asshole who's 1,000 miles away drinking a Mai Tai, they would take that money and they would divide it amongst each other because they're the ones that are doing all of the work, and not just some idiot who's collecting a paycheck without doing anything. So that means under that sort of system, the people are inevitably going to do things like finance building roads and infrastructure and making sure that the pipelines work properly and that they're not filled with lead and making sure that, all of the bridges are not crumbling and falling apart and that all of the factories and businesses aren't polluting the environment that are in direct contact with the people that live in that society and live in that community. These are obvious things, right? So under that system, that means that the incentives are not towards getting more money. The incentives are inherently selfish. The incentives are to make people better. It's to make society better. It's to make society grow, prosper, and be stronger instead of just making one person more wealthy. Making one person more wealthy doesn't make anything fucking better. The only way to make things better is to enrich society itself. And you can do that by not having a single leader or a boss or a king or a CEO or a president being able to take that money, being able to take that whatever from you. It's yours. It always has been and it always should be. So how would healthcare be covered in an anarcho-communist society? Well, that's very simple. Let me get something through really quickly. If you want to enter any sort of business agreement, you have to sign a contract. A contract is a mutually beneficial agreement on both parties that explain that the contract signer provides some sort of service to the contract holder, and the contract holder provides some sort of service to that person that's signing the contract. It's a mutually beneficial agreement. An anarcho-communist society is structured no differently. If you want to enter into the society, then you have to sign a contract. The contract would outline all of the rules and laws that you need to follow by entering into that community and outlines the service and labor that you would obviously have to provide therein. But it also specifically dictates that the contract holder themselves has to give the person that's signing the contract some sort of thing, some sort of benefit for them to be able to enter that community, or else they wouldn't want to enter. If it's not a mutually beneficial agreement, then why would you want to go in there? Why would you want to be part of that system? It's not like a capitalist system where you're forced to sell your labor or else you'll starve to death. You can enter into a society as long as you're able to provide to them a certain amount of labor or whatever that they need, and they are able to provide to you things that you need. And the things that you would need are healthcare, medical benefits, drug coverage, old age pension, social security checks, those sorts of things. So that would mean that the better coverage that you were providing as a community, the more better workers you would attract. And the more better workers that you have coming to a community means that you can create better goods, more products, and have more profit. And more profit means that you end up being able to make better coverage, which then gives you, again, more better workers. You see, the cycle goes around and around and around and creates nothing but a cyclical system that helps society and makes things better. It's like a tornado of fucking awesomeness that saves the world. Anyway, that's the way I look at it. My name is Aaron. Thanks for watching.